Thanks again so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for the opportunity, Danny. I really appreciate it. And this is, a topic that's very near and dear to my heart. So let's just jump right into it. I am going to share my screen as well. And here we go. All right, so we are talking about building a strong nanny community within your agency. And this is for any stage, if you're, brand new agency or you've been doing this 25, 30, 35 plus years. I believe that there's always something to learn and be had from webinars such as this. So as Danny shared a little bit about me, I'm Kellie Geres. I have been in the in-home childcare industry for 36 years. I started when I was 19, practically fresh out of high school. And here I am 36 years later. Those that know me and those that may have heard about me know that I wear many hats in this industry, and this is just one of them. But I am honored to, have worked with organizations such as INA, working with APNA, being a part of International Nanny Recognition Week, which is next week. And also am fortunate to work with the amazing Sue Downey, and we created our Nanny Diary. All of those hats have garnered me some awards, and, I hold those very near and dear to me. And I'm very privileged that this industry has been very, very kind to me. So I thank you all for your time and being here, and I'm excited to talk to you today. So why you're here. My hope is that by attending this webinar, you're going to gain some valuable insights and actionable steps to building a loyal and engaged nanny community within your agency. And by strengthening the relationships that you have with your nanny community, it enhances their well-being, but it also elevates the family perception of the caregivers, which can result in more families and a better placement process. So supporting nannies at every stage, I see can be kind of a three-tier. You have the nannies that are just coming in, that are before the job. You have the nannies that once you've placed, you have them during the job. And once maybe a position has ended or they've, left or didn't get placed with the agency or for whatever reason, you have after the job. I feel a lot of these actions also relate to the families as well. So not only are you creating that community with your nannies, I think it's also, if you kind of think to yourself as you're hearing these are actionable steps I can also take with my families. So before the job, when a potential candidate comes to you, they've probably filled out their online application. You've done some recruiting. They're interested in being placed with you. What are you doing for those nannies that are coming in at the entry level? And when I say entry level, I don't mean a newer nanny, but I mean, as you're going to onboard a nanny into your agency. So are you providing resources and tools for them that are going to make them want to stick around with your agency and brag to their other friends, other nannies online, that, hey, this agency did this for me during the placement process? And so what are those things? Are you providing an easy application process? Is your application online, and is it, maybe a few steps of filling everything out online and submitting a document via the online application? Or is your application process 26 steps of a checklist, and in order to get to the next step, you have to complete the first step and such? So look at the ease of your application process. And, I know for me, if I get going through an application and I get frustrated at a spot, or I don't want to give them that, or, oh my gosh, they're asking so much, I'll give up. And I'll move on to the next one, or I'll push it off and maybe lose an opportunity to get placed. So take a look at your application process. Are you providing resume assistance? Are you assisting nannies with putting together a professional, cohesive resume? Many nannies don't know how to do a resume. It's probably one of the top 5 questions I see in the nanny groups of, where do you go for a resume? Can I see an example of your resume? Who does resumes? So are you offering that? I know there are programs that you can kind of dump the information and it'll create within, an agency platform. But there are those out there that do resumes. Laura Brawley, Candy Vahanya, Becky Kavanaugh, Your Nanny Resume. Those are all services that know our industry, know nannies, and so would be familiar with the nanny resume. So if you see a nanny that could benefit from, redoing a resume or, maybe polishing it up a bit, have those resources available to them, or reach out to them. And I'm sure many of them would love to market with agencies and say, hey, I'd love to be your go-to, person. How can we work together? Another way is, are the nannies coming in and you're placing them with the families and you're not offering any assistance on negotiations? Are they kind of left to their own and left to kind of, well, that's what the family presented me with, so I guess that's what I have to go with. So, are you assisting with negotiations? Are you informing families and are you educating nannies of what our industry standards are, and that these are, what a family should be prepared to do? Are you providing an onboarding kit? Shameless plug here, one of my companies, our Nanny Diary, we have an amazing onboarding kit that walks nannies and families from, from the moment they accept a job until the day they walk in the door. And so are you providing any of that? Family information, where is something located, what to do in emergency, all of that, these days, some families, mom or dad may stay home day one, and then, it's kind of like, okay, here you go, job is yours. There are others where, you may show up on Monday, mom and dad say goodbye, we're leaving off to work, and nanny is like, okay, now what do I do? So, an onboarding process is good, and there are tools out there to help your nannies and families. One of my favorite tools that I have come across, and it's very important in the process of, before accepting a job and understanding, and I think for nannies and families, is understanding taxes and payroll. And we all know that that's a huge topic, legal pay. There are some nannies who don't understand how payroll works, and understanding direct deposit, and for families, and what it entails to be a household employer, and that you can't pay your nanny off of the company payroll. So I was really impressed. Michelle LaRoe with nannytraining.com had GTM put together kind of a mini course, and you can find that at nannytraining.com. And for about $20, a nanny or a family can take that pretty much kind of a self-paced video and learn about nanny taxes. And having been in this industry for, over 30 years, I watched it and I even learned a few things. So I know many of you work with our payroll companies, Homework Solutions, GTM, HomePay. There's others. Reach out to your payroll company and ask them to do a webinar for you, for your parents, and for your nannies on nanny taxes. Maybe they'll create a video just for you that you can share then with your nannies and families, that will walk them through what the process is, how this works, how you're going to get paid, how direct deposit. These are the forms, all of that information. I'm sure they would love that opportunity to work with you on something like that. So those are just a few things before the job. During the job, what are you doing? So you've placed the nanny's now working for the family. So now what are you doing? Many nannies will feel that, okay, they've placed me and I never hear from them again. And that's not what you want. in building your nanny community, you're going to want that consistency of keeping in touch and letting them know about what's happening in this industry, what's happening in your local community. So are you providing emails, monthly emails, a monthly newsletter, even a quarterly? But there's a lot of information out there that, you know, you could easily do once a month or once every 2 months of a newsletter. Are you providing, you know, information on Nanny Palooza, Nanny Training Day, webinars? And it's not even webinars that our industry is doing. You know, you see NACI doing webinars, and there are numerous child development and professional development and early stages that are open to the public that have these, you know, summits and such, and many of them are free to anyone to sign up. So are you sharing that information? Are you calling and emailing your nannies and your families to see how things are going? You've placed that nanny, great. You know, end of the first week, call and say, how'd it go? You know, any concerns? Then, you know, call them at the end of the month. And then consider 3 months or 6 months. And then I'd also say, consider, you know, have an alarm or something on your calendar where, you know, when it's getting close to the year when a nanny and family are going to be done, and check in. Is the nanny going to stay? Have things changed? You know, what are their thoughts moving forward into year 2? So that's also a way to provide that support to your nannies and your families. Another way during is you hosting ongoing education and networking. And we're going to get into some specifics on that in a slide coming up. And are you providing mentorship? You know, if you see a nanny that, you know, really shows a lot of potential in this in her chosen career, or she has some skills and a skill set that can excel. Are you available? Are you providing mentorship? Are you offering to have maybe a more seasoned nanny connect with say a newer nanny? And so all of those connections are going to show your nannies and your families that you value them and you see them as, you know, important and professionals, and, you know, respecting them for what they do as well. And it's not just about the families. So then after the job, do you make it easy to come back? Let's say a nanny left on good terms, left to relocate, maybe has moved back. You know, how easy do you make that to come back? Do you open your events? Can they still be invited to events and come connect? Maybe they went and got a degree in something in special education, or something that you feel other nannies could benefit from. Invite them to come back and speak in an event or do a webinar, and see if they would mentor other nannies. And so those are all ways that you can kind of keep those lines of communication and keep those connections going, even if a nanny is no longer being placed within your agency. All right. So the benefits of a strong nanny community is you're going to have increased loyalty and dedication from the nannies. You're going to enhance your agency reputation and the trustworthiness of your agency. And you're probably going to get higher rates of referrals from both nannies and families. So when nannies are feeling valued and respected and are getting this information from you and this support from you, they're easily going to turn around and tell others about it. And the same with families. If they see what you're doing for the nannies in your nanny community, or their nanny has benefited from something that you've provided, and she comes and says, oh yeah, my agency has been doing this, or they're having this webinar, or I'm really excited about this event, the family is going to recognize that and remember that and know that you have have built that community, and they're going to want to, and hopefully, share that information if colleagues or family members or neighbors reach out and say, you know what, we tried this on our own. It didn't work out. We used another agency. It didn't work out. We're frustrated. Where did you get your nanny? And then you'll be able to tell them. So, as an industry, nannies recognize who is supporting the other nannies and who is supporting this industry. And so when you support your nannies, they're sharing that with others. I always see, I recently saw who are the agencies to use in New York, and there were several mentioned, and so another, somebody else would come in and, oh yes, I recommend that one as well. And so you'll see the same names popping up over and over again for agencies that nannies recommend, and they're recommending those in these Facebook groups to an audience that you may normally not be able to reach. Maybe somebody in Iowa who's looking to move to Southern California, or is looking to relocate from California to the East Coast. And so they're unfamiliar with those agencies. And so you're able to reach those nannies that not necessarily are in your market, but are maybe looking to move to your market, or there's such the broader reach of that. Additionally, when you support industry events such as Nanny Palooza, INA, numerous nanny training days, all of these events are sharing your information. They're sharing who is sponsoring their event. They're sharing who is supporting, the efforts behind making this event accessible to nannies. And so they're sharing that on their websites, they're sharing it on their social media, and nannies are taking notice. I know for myself, I see those agencies that support their local communities, and it's great when you can see multiple agencies within a specific market come together and support an industry event. So the support and the mentions that nannies are doing is, again, it's broadening from your local audience, which you're probably reaching with your emails and your social media, to a national and an international audience. So keep that in mind when, that next email comes your way, or you see something online about a nanny training day event, or an NNRW event that may be coming up that is looking for support, because it doesn't have to be a lot, and I think it's a win-win for both parties. So strategies for building loyalty and community. I think Danny has a poll that we're going to put up, so you can provide your input on that. But these are just a few ways that I think that agencies can really excel with the strategies for building that community. And it's going to be recognized not only within your local nanny community, but again, by the families, as well as on a much broader scale. So organizing and supporting networking events and socials. I'll start off by saying, when I became a nanny in 1989, it was before social media, it was before email, before the web. We didn't have the online connections that we do now, but nanny support groups really saved me in this career, in this industry. Those in-person groups that formed back in 1989, when I became a nanny, there was a group in northern New Jersey called New Jersey Nanny Network, and they had monthly meetings, and they would bring in speakers, and they had socials. They're the ones that introduced me to the International Nanny Association. When I decided to leave New Jersey, I moved down to Atlanta, and I was fortunate to become a part of the professional nannies of Atlanta. From there, got familiar with Billy, and when I moved down to DC 21 years ago, we have AdCan, and so and there's still a sprinkling of those in-person groups out there. I believe that they're vital to the nanny community, as well as the online groups that I think reach nannies that don't have a nanny community, or say even an agency within their locale. And so so nanny groups are important. And so organizing and supporting networking events. Are you hosting an NNRW event next week? I believe one of the questions, are you familiar with NNRW? I hope many of you are. I hope all of you are. But look for those groups within your community, and many of them are online. You can find them. They have private Facebook groups. Sometimes they don't allow agencies, but reach out to the moderators and say, hey, I'd love to support your next effort. It doesn't have to be costly. It could be, hey, we'd love to provide you with dessert, or something, or box lunches or something at a next event. It could be, hey, we'd love to send our nannies your way. Who do we get in contact with? And even creating your own, gather your nannies together, and not necessarily, it doesn't have to be during an NRW. But at any point, say, hey, we're meeting up at the local tavern, and your first drink and appetizers are on us, and just open it up to your nannies and just have an opportunity for them to come together, and do that once a quarter. I know other agencies have done it, and they're very successful with it. And it provides an opportunity, I think, to let the nannies know that you're human, like there's a person that exists behind all of those emails and all those applications and all of the information that they're sharing. It's like you're a real human being, and they've spoken to you probably on the phone, but maybe never met you, or you've connected over Zoom. And so opening up those channels to connect can go a long way with your agency as well. And another thing, charity and giving back. One thing I was really impressed with this past year was the walkathon that the Nanny Relief Fund did. And there were a number of agencies that put together teams. So put together a team for their next walkathon, and then pick a day and meet at a local park or a walking trail, and just tell all of your nannies that you're going to be walking, and they're invited to come, and it's for the Nanny Relief Fund. Or maybe there's another organization within your community that's having a walking or something event, something similar that you can get involved with, that you could put a team together. Community volunteering, volunteer at a food bank, or put together a back to school drive for school supplies and let all your nannies and families know about it. Do a toy or a book drive. I know that there are some agencies that will, upon placement, will make a donation to a local charity. So that's also, but this is a way, just pick a day, a weekend, and tell your nannies and families, hey, we're going to be volunteering at, X, Y, and Z. We invite you all to come down and join us, for this. We'd love to see you, and put together something. Let's see, I've got so many notes here, and I'm just talking. Offering, oh my goodness, let's see, regularly plan events. I think about plan events. I want to plan events. Okay. And what have you tried? Newsletters, personalized webinars. Okay. All right. So it's good to see that, some of, majority of you are trying a few of these things. So I hope I'm not boring you. offering educational workshops and training sessions, I think, is an excellent opportunity for agencies to reach both their nannies and their families. In both aspects, you can provide webinars for your families. You can record it and maybe make it available to them to view at their convenience. You can make it, an evening that they could, log in after the kids go to bed and join you for, a live presentation, but look at maybe some content that would appeal to your families that you could offer through your agency. And through your nannies, the same. There are so many educational opportunities out there for nannies now, via online or in person, and many of them, sometimes it's a cost restriction. So look at what those events, look at the speakers and content that Nanny Palooza is doing, look at the speaker and content that INA is doing. And maybe there's a workshop that, really resonated with you, like, oh, that would be really great for, my nannies. And look for someone within your local community that could potentially offer that webinar. Look at your business network and look at your clients. Maybe some of them are speech pet specialists and could come in and do a speech workshop. We had a connection through one of our nannies here in DC one time. We had an amazing speaker come in for a nanny training day on baby-led weaning. And it was phenomenal. And so, that could be an email question too that you send out to your nanny. Say, hey, we're putting together a series of webinars on topics that, we want you to be able to have access to. What would you like to learn about? Is there anyone that we should know that we can connect with to offer these webinars, and pull from your community? Another is Nanny Training Day. There are so many nannies that will put on events themselves, or they have a small group of nannies that come together, or they have, either an online group or an in-person group. And too often I hear, oh, we reached out to the agencies, but didn't hear back. No one wants to support us. Well, if ABC agency supports us, then XYZ agency won't support us. I'll tell you that agencies can come together and work together and put together amazing events. I see it happen in the Bay Area, in Southern California. I've seen it in Boston and Nashville. And, these are all competing agencies in the same market, but recognize that coming together and being able to provide these resources to their nanny community, they were able to, not that they're, fighting or anything, but, they put that same market competition, aside to come together to put together amazing events. And, I think that speaks volumes for the agency community as well, that a group of agencies can come together for such a great cause. Other is, I will have a slide with some resources that are my favorite, but there are industry veterans such as myself that are knowledgeable on certain topics that you can reach out to say, hey, I'd love to host a webinar with you. They would love the opportunity to share their experience, to share their knowledge. Many of them have gone on to create coaching programs, websites and resources, communities within, what they create. Laura Brawley, Candy Vahania are two that come to mind. And so, those are readily accessible to you as an agency. In-house webinars, I know Erica Slade with eNanny. I know she does an amazing job putting together a program of ongoing continuing education for her nanny community. And look again internally at what your own nannies. Maybe you have a nanny that is constantly posting on Instagram all the amazing STEM activities she does with her charges. Maybe that's something you could bring her on and talk about, how to introduce STEM, a few things, how to get involved with it. I know sensory boxes and that are really popular as well. And they're themed. And so there's so many different topics out there, and the nanny community is readily accessible for that. So scholarships to conference. It could be a scholarship that you're going to make available to your local training day. You can make scholarships available to Nanny Palooza and INA and the U.S. Nanny Association. They have an online summit happening all month. This month, I can't even remember the number of speakers they have, but it's all virtual and it's open to anyone to attend. And but you get all month. A month of speakers. And so, you could sponsor a nanny to attend that. These are also some great ideas to give away next week for NNRW. We have NNRW Sunday through Saturday, but a giveaway. Nanny Palooza is also next week, but there's also Nanny Palooza West in Phoenix in October. So there's still time to register for that. And INA in the fall, or I'm sorry, in the spring. And it's surprising that there are nannies out there who haven't heard of these organizations and events. And so another part of that is in the communications that you're providing to your nannies, letting them know about these organizations and these events and these opportunities. And even if you can't provide a scholarship, that even just letting them know about it and letting your families know about it too, in that, hey, your nanny may be interested in this. Here are ways that you can help support her get to Nanny Palooza, and offer ways for your families to assist with that. So providing accessible resources and support network. I think we've kind of covered that. In there's so much information out there amongst the nanny community. It's there for the taking. And are you sharing that on your social media? Are you sharing those items in your emails to your nannies and families? If you're struggling to find content to share on social media, there it is. Drop it in an Airtable, create a spreadsheet on it, or I love the Facebook save button. And I have a whole nanny file. And whenever I see something, I need to remember to share that. I save it to my nanny file, and I can go back to it at any time and find something to share on social media. Ongoing communications, again, your emails, making them consistent, making them, have a value to them. It's information that they should know about. Include something going on within your agency, include something going on within the industry, include a blog post, something fun for them. But just make it consistent. So it's kind of, as I like to say, you stay on the radar. Recognizing and celebrating nannies' achievements and milestones. I'm starting to see an increase in the number of agencies that are featuring a weekly nanny or a monthly nanny. I know that TLC does it out of St. Louis. Dara Yates is doing it out of Seaside Staffing. I know that, Dara has taken it a step above, and I know that they get a nice gift when they get their nanny of the month. And I think she's also doing some blog posts. And so, but giving those shout outs to your nannies, maybe you got a great review from a family about a nanny. It's nice to share that review, but really give that shout out to that nanny. Maybe you do a lot of temp work or sitters. Maybe you have, a temp nanny that has done, X number of jobs and deserves a shout out. Maybe you have a temp nanny that put in so many hours of work for you and deserves some accolades. I think though, with that, if you hear of a nanny or even a family, maybe they've, suffered a loss or some hardship, not that you have to shout it out on social media or in your blog, but a nice handwritten note, a little care package, sorry to hear, about your loss, or, sorry to hear you're ill, just that personal touch can go a long ways and keep you on your nannies and families radar as well. Oh yeah, I remember, when I, had that accident, they sent over a care package, they reached out to me. I really appreciated that. So all of that, goes a long way. All right.
Kellie, I just
Yeah.
wanted to ask you, you mentioned one thing about summit like all month long, and I
Mhm.
missed that one. Could you just repeat what that was called again?
Sure, it was the US Nanny Association. So I think it's usnanny.org or .com, one of those. Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, they do their virtual conference, virtual summit, the entire month of September. All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There we go. All right. So practical steps to succeed. Do you have an effective communication channel? Are you easy to reach? Are you prone to having an email sit in your email inbox, for a week or more before responding to it? Make it easy for nannies and families to reach you, even if it's, hey, the job is going great, or hey, I really need to talk to you, something's going on, or hey, I have this great idea I'd love to discuss with you, about, NNRW coming up. So creating and implementing those. And I also think consistency, if you're emailing out newsletters, or if you're emailing out to your nannies, make sure it's on a consistent basis. Don't do, okay, I'm going to, one email, one a week for 3 weeks, and then crickets for 6 months. And then, oh, okay, I really need to send that email. So find some consistency in it. It's also something that can be outsourced to a VA or another staff member. Maybe you have an amazing nanny that that is very tech savvy, and she would love to help you with some admin things within the agency. So look internally as well if you don't have staff already. So creating, also, sorry, part of that, are you checking your social media messages? Are you checking those DMs? I'm a big one. I don't think like Instagram DM is not an effective communication tool, but the younger generation does, that's how they communicate. And so are you checking those DMs frequently? And if not, you need to be. And that goes for across all social media platforms, just to see what's happening. And yeah, and then I throw it over to the email from there. Are you creating a supportive and inclusive agency? Are you, offering diverse events? Are you recognizing those events within your community? Are you making it accessible for your nannies and families so that, they feel welcomed and included? Leveraging technology to connect and engage. Again, are you sharing consistently on social media? What are you sharing on social media? Do you have a texting platform in place if people need to reach you? Do you have email lists? Do you know where your email lists are? And using those email lists. As we found out, I think it was several months ago, but Facebook and Instagram went down. the world came to an end. Facebook and Instagram. Oh no, it's not working. If you are a business and rely on social media, how are you going to reach your clients, your customers? And so having that email list is imperative to your agency. And so, building on that, utilizing that, making sure that, your audience is engaged there as well. So, and then also your website, do you have tools in there to make it easily accessible? Do you have a form to fill out? Is there a phone number? Is there, a place they can leave a message and reach out to you? So having that information readily available and easy to find so that nannies and families can find you is critical. And then establishing, mentorship and peer support. Again, it's not just about bringing a caregiver in, placing them in the job. Great, your job is done. You place the nanny. But I believe that it's an ongoing practice that agencies need to recognize, because a nanny may stay in a job for 1, 2, 3 years and be ready for another job, after and another placement. And so what have you done for that nanny from, when you placed her in that first position to now 3 years later, and she's looking for another position? Where's the loyalty and where is the support that you could have provided to make her want to stick with your agency, and also, again, refer you to friends and families, and hopefully draw in more nannies. And, all of this, and kind of backpedaling a little bit, but with all of these events and sponsoring of events and such, one, it's not meant to break the bank. I mean that in no way. There are many things that you can do that are cost effective, minimal investment, but a great return. And, don't look at it in you're just reaching the nannies that are in your database that you're placing. But again, you're reaching, that trickle effect of an audience that they know someone who knows someone who knows someone. And so that trickle effect is going to get you, more nannies and more families by implementing these. All right, so a few of my favorite resources. Again, these are just a few. As I said earlier, there are so many out there. But Candy Vahania with the Experienced Nanny, she has created a platform, a nanny community. She excels at working with high net worth, ultra high net worth, traveling as a nanny, and is a great resource. Laura Brawley, if you're not familiar, Nanny Care Hub, again, a number of resources available. INA, INA is not just the conference. INA has so many resources for nannies and parents and agencies on their website, many that you can take advantage of as an INA member. They have the basic skills exam and the credential exam, both for nannies and NCS. I know with either the basic skills or I think with the basic skills, I could be mistaken on this, but you get so many free as an INA member. This is a tool that you can provide, to every nanny that walks in your door, and give them this basic skills exam. And, that's a marketing that, all of our nannies have taken, and passed the INA basic skills exam. So that, and that's a great tool to share with your families. Nanny Transitions is Glenda Probst. She has created a great community for nannies who are in jobs and they have to leave. As we know, when it's time to leave a nanny job, it's really hard, and nannies often stay a lot longer than they should, or sometimes as need, but because they're so invested with the kids. It may be a very toxic environment, say with the parents, but they want to stay because of those kids. They just love those kids so much. But Glenda's community with nanny transitions really helps nannies that are facing and or are struggling with leaving a position at any point. So I mentioned the U.S. Nanny Association. Again, they also have some great blogs and articles and resources that they put out. Homework Solutions, GTM Payroll Services. There's a lot of payroll and nanny tax services out there, but just from my perspective, Homework Solutions and GTM have the best content libraries of answering questions for nannies and for families. And blog posts that really break down and explain certain things related to this industry. And so that's information you can be sharing with both your nannies and your families, as well as you can be sharing on your social media and in those emails. Nanny Palooza, again, a conference, and it's happening next week and again in October. Can't do a webinar without mentioning APNA. It's a great resource for all of you agencies, and I hope to see many of you next month at the conference in Oceanside, California. NACY. NACY is the National Association of Education of Young Children. They also put together a phenomenal conference. They get like 30,000 people attending the NACY conference. Like they will block out a convention center and blocks of hotels, but they put on an amazing event and quality content for early childhood educators and providers. And many nannies go to that conference and have presented at those conferences as well. So it's a resource for you to share and to look at. I'm really impressed with Sarah Salisbury and Heidi Jolene. They are two nannies. Heidi is a Nanny of the Year, and INA Nanny of the Year. They're going to be doing 2 workshops next week at Nanny Palooza, but they do a lot of fun things with curriculum development and things you can do at home. Implementing things around the home in an in-home environment, not necessarily homeschooling, but just as an educational environment. And so if you're not familiar with them, reach out to them. I highly suggest reaching out to see if they would do a webinar for you. Nanny Magazine, again, it's a resource, great articles. I also love that as an agency, you can get a agency branded issue of Nanny Magazine, so that your information, your ad is what is in there. And so it's specific to your agency. And so that's a great tool that you can purchase from Nanny Magazine, customize to your agency, and then have it as a digital download and provide that to your nannies and families as another resource. Let's see. And again, all of these resources that I've mentioned are social and email content for you if you're struggling and don't know what to post. I'll also say if anyone is interested in a speaker on coming in and discussing kind of the duality of nanny, family assistant, household management, shameful plug, I'm your girl. So, but that's probably my second most topic of that I love talking about. So would love to chat with any of you about that. So all right. And in closing, just, I hope that you have found some aspect of this webinar to be helpful, and that by implementing these suggestions, it doesn't have to be intimidating, it doesn't have to be time consuming, and it doesn't have to be costly. I think the keys are in that the consistency that you're putting information out, being present with your audience, being honest and being sincere. And I invite each of you to reach out to me if you have any questions. If you want to schedule a call, we can chat about, ideas you have, resources. If you want an introduction with someone, we can chat ideas, and I'm more than happy to make that time for you. So Thank you very much for allowing me this platform. And again, I hope you found it beneficial, and I will answer your questions now.
Kelly, thank you so much for doing this. One of the questions we got was from Marilyn. She asked, do you do people pay speakers? And if so, like how much?
Um, I think it varies. I think for training events such as like a nanny training day or such of that, if you're looking at a professional speaker organization or some, and you need to have somebody come in on a very topic specific, I would say that there may be a fee involved. I would say, look at your local community and, especially if they have either a product or a service that they're offering, or maybe they have a book or a course, something like that. This is an opportunity for them to market that opportunity. And so in lieu of payment, they're having the opportunity to build their audience as well. I know that, you could do, say, a small stipend, $25, $50. I know we've done for events, we've offered, say, a gift card, or in lieu, we would make a donation to a local charity in their name. But I think that, for many of the individuals that I mentioned on the resources, the opportunity to um, uh, to share their information, either a course or a platform or something like that, where they may get people to sign up, I think it is key. And then you can also say, hey, we're going to be sharing this information on our email. We're going to have it on our website. We're going to be promoting it across our social media. So that's going to be an even bigger draw for and awareness for them.
Perfect.
Thank you, Kelly.
You're welcome.
Does anybody else have any questions for Kelly? And also, I threw in a blog post that Kelly did for us about with downloads that you can use to share with your candidates, the families, an email that she'd pre-written for you. So check out that link that's in the chat right now. Yeah, does anybody else have any? I know Kelly gave us like tons of information. I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that this is a recording. Does anybody else, though, while you have her here, have any questions for her?
Thank you, Dara.
I will also say you answered one of mine, which was like, would you speak for agencies? And so you said you did already. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yes. Yes.
Well, if anybody wants to give any questions, you can still use the chat. I'm just gonna tell everybody, thank you so much for coming. It was amazing to have Kelly here. She did our How to Build a Nanny Agency podcast, so you can listen to that one. It's about National Nanny Recognition Week. She gave us the podcast. She gave us the blog with all the downloads in it. So again, Kelly, thank you so much for that. And she's doing this webinar right now. If you have any ideas of anyone that you want for us to have on a webinar or anything, you can always reach out to me, Danny, at enginehire.ca. We'd love to learn more about what everybody needs. Yeah, Kelly, thank you so much. And if anybody else has any questions, I will send them your way.
I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you taking time out of your day.
Amazing. Well, bye, everybody. Thank you.